Ain't I fresh? Ain't I fresh though? I was gifted this shirt because of how much I enjoy BTS. So hopefully that deters most people from leaving hate comments on this video. I feel like this video won't get many views, so I decided to make it to see if there was anyone that shares similar feelings to myself, or for anyone that cares to elaborate on their own opinions about BTS's decision to opt out of the upcoming Grammys. I wanted to see if there was a discussion that could be had about this, and I mean like a real discussion, not like a I'm Army and I agree with everything BTS says and does. So if you are one of those armies or fans of BTS, this is your trigger warning that you may not enjoy the entirety of this video. I think it's important to question everything that you engage with and consume, especially if it demands the amount of parasocialism and consumerism that K-pop does. So if this ends up on the wrong side of YouTube or X, oh well. I can't live my life in fear. Y'all are scary. I've been listening to BTS since about 2018. I really enjoyed the bond they had with each other. I was touched by their story. And then I found out that they make amazing music. Music that I truly believe is beyond the genre of K-pop. Now, to address the elephant in the room, I'm Black. Sorry. I'm Black, and as a Black person, I am very aware of BTS's problematic, racist, racially insensitive, racially ignorant, however you want to put it. I am very aware of their problematic past. This is how we do you niggas better know. I know that people say BTS has apologized or RM has apologized. I've seen the video that people are referencing when they say RM has apologized. I personally wouldn't call it an apology, maybe an admission of guilt. That's just me though. If new evidence arises, let me know. I didn't say it while recording, but I also would like to include that BTS has supported the Black community and other minorities through major financial contributions, public anti-racism statements, and global anti-violence partnerships since establishing such a large platform. Obviously, they've displayed tremendous growth over the course of their career and continue to do so. No matter how you look at it though, BTS's past is peppered with cultural appropriation, as that, along with capitalism, is the basis of K-pop itself. With those being at the root of the inception of K-pop, I would say that is the reason why, as of late, I have been enjoying BTS and other K-pop acts from a very zoomed out lens. I did have really high hopes of BTS's most recent album, Arirang, being an album that really impassioned me about BTS and their music again, but with it being riddled with a lot of unnecessary AAVE and more simplistic English lyrics. Not to say there weren't double entendres, and not to say the entire album was in English, because it definitely was not, but I would say most of the English language involved was very simple. So the album did end up falling short for me, aside from the production quality. The production quality of this album was absolutely insane and amazing. And that's just my opinion personally. If you enjoyed the entirety of the Arirang album, I love that for you. I enjoyed the 3 tracks that I like from the album and various verses from other songs, and then I go about my day. I do not subscribe to the belief that you hate an artist if you didn't enjoy an album. I know typically K-pop fans have their own rules when it comes to how you speak about K-pop artists' music. Music is music, and you cannot favor an album and still like an artist. Whether you loved, hated, or just didn't listen to Arirang, the album, you could expect that BTS, the biggest boy band in the world, would submit their work to the Grammys for consideration. Well, BTS said, "No sir, not me." More accurately, they've all posted the same statement that's been largely translated as, "We have decided not to enter the Grammys this year. I hope that music can be heard and loved for what it is, rather than being divided by region or language. Thank you to ARMY and everyone who is always with us." I also want to include this clip of DJ Gino reading a slightly different translation of the statement. I feel like it captures a bit more emotion that may have been included in what they said.
It says, this year, we will not submit to the Grammys. Music has no geographical boundaries or language limitations. We hear music as it is, and we just want to receive your earnest love. Thank you for always being with us, Army, and everyone involved.
The statement comes after the Grammys introduced 5 new categories, including Best Asian Pop Music Performance, a category that is blatantly xenophobic in my opinion. If this was any other Western award show, I would accept arguments otherwise, but it's the Grammys. These are the same people that created the categories using the term urban and put black artists in those categories. The same people who split the Best Country Album category into 2 separate awards, Best Contemporary Country Album and Best Traditional Country Album, in what most people would call retaliation to Beyonce winning Best Country Album. An award that Beyonce, the person with the most Grammys ever, was stunned to win due to the Grammys' track record. This is the same Recording Academy that just so happened to create the category Best Latin Song after Bad Bunny won Album of the Year for a fully Spanish album. These same Grammys that gave Best Rap Album to Macklemore and Ryan Lewis
over Kendrick Lamar.
Sorry, that one just gets to me, makes me emotional. I got so worked up, in fact. Let me take a sip of water. Why don't we all take a sip? Did you get the water for the video? We do the water thing for the video. It's called Family Sip. Even hate commenting people, please get your water, come back to the video, family sip. Cheers. The point is, the Grammys have been discriminatory and racist for a long time, probably since its inception. Look at how they treated Michael Jackson's Bad album, the album titled Bad. Not like he had a bad album. Now, we have the most beloved boy band in the world, who happens to be Asian, release an album primarily in English. That same album reaches record-breaking streaming numbers. Not that numbers are everything in this day and age of inflating numbers, but they keep track of these said numbers, so they mean something. BTS is also on a sold-out tour that's grossed millions of dollars, and all of a sudden the Grammys makes a Best Asian Pop Music Performance category that establishes that recordings that are primarily sung in a non-Asian language and only feature minimal or incidental use of Asian languages such as ad-libs, brief phrases, and isolated words are not eligible. It's almost as if a category has been made as an exclusionary precaution. Of course, the Grammys have defended their decision. I'll put it on the screen if you want to read it. I'm not gonna read it because I don't really believe them. In essence, they were like, no way did we make this to be exclusionary. This is to be even more inclusive, and this doesn't stop any artist from submitting to other categories. Other categories that we're known to gatekeep, but yay! That's what I would summarize it as, but you have the statement. With all that being said, I completely understand why BTS decided to remove themselves from the Grammys altogether. More power to them. There are plenty of videos siding with BTS, completely validating their decision to opt out of the Grammys and explaining why the category is racist within itself, but I haven't seen much of anyone talking about the opposing opinions, and I wanted to do that because I think they're very interesting and some are really worth talking about, in my opinion.
Yo, I'm irritated. So BTS have jointly released a statement that they're not submitting their album for the Grammy. First of all, this is so parasocial. It's so parasocial. Just don't submit the album, but to make this statement, to garner this outrage from fans, is just so like annoyingly exploitive of the parasocial dynamic that they have with their fans. This is cowardly because you can't compete in those big categories against the Olivia Rodrigos, the Bruno Mars, the Sabrina Carpenter. You're choosing not to submit your album at all because the Grammy didn't make an awards category catered to K-pop, but instead pop music in the Asian language, which means that you have to compete with other Asian artists who are making pop music because Korea is not the all of Asia. You can't compete, and this is cowardly.
I can't say that I agree with this, especially since, yes, BTS can submit their work to any category they would like. However, ultimately, it is up to the Recording Academy to decide which category they're going to put any submission they receive in.
The thing about it is, they've created this narrative, and you guys have just sopping it up with biscuits. Yep. The boys need y'all to protect them, to coddle them, Point blank, period. Any narrative will work when it comes to BTS. But the only narrative that I see is that they're cowards. Nothing about the creation of this new Asian pop category feels or is technically against BTS. BTS got out of the military and they decided collectively to create a pop album, to hire Western producers to make a pop album. That album in composition is eligible to compete against other Western artists. The Asian pop category is meant for the Asian diaspora of artists who create pop composition music, which is a specific structure of music. The criteria lays it out perfectly. The thing that makes that category special is the usage of the Asian language, which differentiates Asian pop music from Western pop music, from Latin pop music, from African pop music, from Arab pop music. This is steps towards inclusiveness of regional pop music. But anything that doesn't guarantee BTS a win for you guys is a slight against them. It's absurd. And now they're making this statement like they're martyring themselves for a cause. There is no cause. The only cause is they can't compete against Olivia Rodrigo, Bruno Mars, Ariana Grande, Sabrina Carpenter, Tyler, because that's what Adnan is competing against based off of its musical composition.
I don't feel as though BTS are cowards. They've submitted their work against Western artists before for the Grammys. Why would they be scared now? They did release a Korean version of their song Normal that would be eligible for the new category, but their title track Swim is eligible to compete in the other major awards. So that would lead me to believe that this wasn't a move made out of cowardice, but likely for a bigger reason or cause.
So BTS said that they're not going to submit for the Grammys. And the Grammys is like, okay, well, do that. But the Grammys has a new category for like Asian pop music. Their fans are in the Grammys comments and on Twitter saying, yeah, this is discrimination. Why would they make this category? Why would they made the category so that Asian music could be recognized. There are other world music categories. The category was not just for K-pop. And BTS, like any other group, could submit under any category. They don't even need to submit under the Asian pop or whatever the name of the category is. And they've submitted under pop. They've been nominated. They just have not won. Recognizing world or global music is not racist, segregatory, or discriminatory.
This is a really interesting point to me. A lot of people have spoken about how music has always been separated by genre or languages and or region. K-pop, for example. The category can be seen as an opportunity for artists outside of BTS to win a Grammy. Since most of Arirang is not even eligible for the new category, people have stated that BTS is essentially putting a target on other Asian artists back who may consider this an opportunity. Also pointing out the fact that BTS had no issue accepting their 14 AMAs, American Music Awards, an award show named after the country it's in that is specific to a region. They also had no issues accepting Best Asian Artist. That all seems very regional, and Asians and Asian artists are not a monolith, so I do wonder how BTS's decision may affect other artists who did see this as an opportunity rather than an insult. Will they be looked down upon if they decide to participate? Will they decide not to submit even though they really want to out of respect for BTS, or maybe even fear of BTS's influence?
You know, I would really love if the whole K-pop community took this as a sign of you know what, let's follow in their footsteps and let's make this a movement. You know what I mean? Let's not be boxed into one category and let's actually all not submit anything. What a statement that would be for the Grammys. That's what I'm thinking. But obviously, the greed that everyone has, I'm sure that there's going to be so many that will take this opportunity and use it to their advantage and be like, you know what? BTS is out of the picture. Let's get a Grammy. And that causes so much rage inside of me because, like, no. Like, in my mind and in my heart and in my spirit and in my soul, giving a Grammy to anyone other than BTS is so insane that I just can't even fathom that. And I can't fathom the people that will gladly accept that as theirs, knowing fully well who actually deserves it.
I definitely think that's worth discussing. The last opinion that I want to talk about could be seen as inflammatory, but I would like to see if it could be discussed in a meaningful way. I'm kind of at a crossroads with how to feel about this whole BTS essentially boycotting the Grammy situation, because I can understand both the supporting and opposing party. As an ARMY, I do feel bad that they are experiencing the same discrimination Black and Latin American artists have gone through for years at the Grammys. Parentheses, everyone deserves a fair chance in the main category, in parentheses. But at the same time, I feel like BTS should have known that they were going to be given the same treatment as other artists who are people of color and not be treated as equal to the white artists. I feel like HYBE, and to an extent BTS, tried to lean into the very harmful label of the model minority myth, parentheses, whether knowingly or unknowingly, in parentheses, and thought it would work in their favor but backfired. BTS has been the target of racism and mistreatment in the West ever since their reach has furthered. Literally just this year there was the Oreo incident.
Cream is supposed to taste like the South Korean treat called hotok, which is a brown sugar stuffed pancake that some of the band members say they ate as a kid. It does sound good, right? Cookie's wafer is BTS signature color, purple. The wafers are also engraved with one of 13 designs which spell out a message to fans when put together, and that is death to America.
Is this serious?
No one should be subjected to racism, bigotry, and or dehumanization, especially not on the global scale. I can only imagine the horrors that BTS has been through aside from what they've shared with us. I still can't help but acknowledge the fact that so many artists, and especially artists of color, have boycotted the Grammys. There have been white artists too, but mostly artists of color. J. Cole, one of J-Hope's favorite rapper, the rapper that inspired his name, doesn't submit his work to the Grammys because of the discriminatory nature of the Recording Academy. Artists have been pretty outspoken about the Grammys.
Don't fucking get us all here to use your selling point for your show and stiff everybody every single time.
It sucks that whenever we, and I mean guys that look like me, do anything that's genre bending or that's anything, they always put it in a rap or urban category, which is, and I don't like that urban word. It's just a politically correct way to say the N-word to me. So when I hear that, I'm just like, why can't we just be in pop?
I think sometimes genre is a cold word to keep us in our place as artists.
BTS decided that they still wanted to play the game, releasing songs like Butter, Permission to Dance, Dynamite, and maybe it wasn't their decision.
진짜 어마어마한 업적을 남긴 거잖아, BTS가. 다이너마이트, 빌보드 차트 1위.
아, 그럼 운이 엄청 좋았죠. 이게 다이너마이트가 그 저희 멤버들한테 선호 노래가 아니었어요. 그때가 투어가 잡혀 있었는데 코로나 때문에 투어가 취소돼가지고 마냥 쉴 수만은 없어서 노래를 한 3개 정도 받았는데 다이너마이트를 제일 먼저 들려주고 아 이거 말고 다른 노래 없나요? 했는데 나머지 2개가 조금 더 별로였어요. 그래서 다들 탐탁치 않아 하면서
그냥 그중에 아쉽지만 그래도 우리가
아쉽지만 다이너마이트 한번 해보자 했는데 그게 대박이 난 거죠.
Even when they were making this most recent album, if you watch their documentary on Netflix, their label seems to be pushing them to make an album that will be accepted in the West. Nonetheless, the game has been being played. Multiple members of BTS have stated how much they'd like to get a Grammy.
You're listening, all the Recording Academy members. BTS wants the Grammy nomination, so yeah.
I also want to point out that BTS has also recently low-key rescinded their sentiment about wanting a Grammy, even before they made this statement. statement. I think that's important to note as well. I don't think BTS is doing this for selfish gain or out of fear or ego. I believe their decision to not submit anything to the Grammys can lead to positive change, and if nothing else, really stick it to the man. BTS brought a huge audience to the Grammys, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure viewership for the Grammys had been steadily dropping before BTS made their first appearance. I know I wasn't watching the Grammys. I still don't watch the Grammys. I look up the performances on YouTube. BTS does not need the Grammys. The Recording Academy has fumbled a huge gargantuan bag here. That's a fact.
You fucking the brand up. You're not building the brand. You're fucking the brand up, but you want to be the CEO.
The reason I felt the need to point out BTS playing the game is because I feel like that's a representation of how we are operating as humans today in society. We're all playing the game, and it's not until the unfair rules of that game start to affect us or the people close to us that we really care about changing those rules. I think the solidarity that BTS is getting is important and deserved. And I also think that it would be beautiful to see that same sort of solidarity amongst a lot more issues that involve racism, xenophobia, and discrimination as well. Or just listening to minorities, especially when something is said like 20,000 times, and enacting change on that. That's it. I didn't know if I was really gonna record and post this. Might delete depending on where it lands, but I don't really think my channel is like big enough for it to matter, so that's why this video is up right now. For now, obviously most people consider this a net positive. I don't disagree. As always, I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think about the solidarity that BTS is getting. Do you support them? Do you not support them? Do you not even listen to them? Does none of this matter? Should we even be talking about the Grammys? Have the Grammys flopped and this is just meaningless rhetoric? I'll be in the comments. Thank you for watching my video. I really appreciate it. Like, comment, subscribe if you want. Hype the video if you have the time. Love you. Cheers. Before you leave a hate comment on the channel, ask yourself, ain't I fresh?